Let's get down to business. You defeat the Heinz. Did they send me daughters when I asked for shines? Oh, I'm not a big Disney fan. Oh wait, I'm gonna get the MCA takedown. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Let's get into here. So, what is it that I want to do? Right, lots of dials and knobs and things to rate. Okay. So I need more dials and knobs. So oh. Alright, it helps if I do a little bit of a VFM here. And then I do Player in Love Death. So I do also have I have a few other things in mind that I can do. So I have a good, like, this is nice. I can push it out a little bit more. I need to have another setup for things, right? Needs. I do want to do audio processing. I think that's going to be next week. Depending, because like my main goal this week, and what I mean by this week is by EOD Thursday, right? By EOD Thursday, and a big thing that I want to do on Friday morning, right? My Friday morning stream, that is going to be a recap of the week. That's going to be a declaration of intent, what I think needs to be done, what I expect, you know, how things are going to go. Because now I actually have a test team. Right? I actually have a QA team. It's an individual of one. Right? I do have tester, you know, and like myself. So, like, these are all things that, you know, I can see, I can do, I can deal with, I can handle. So I am getting active feedback, which means that having active feedback, I have not realized is like that. I will respect truly solitary developers way fucking more now. Because I feel like like realistically speaking, truly solitary devs don't exist. I'm sure there are absolutely the absolute freaking sociopaths out there that are, you know, true solo devs. I'm sure it is going to happen. You know, someone who did all the art, all the work, all the everything, it did all the QA, did all that stuff, and he just quietly releases a game without any real anything. I'm sure something like that is going to happen at some point. I'm not going to be that person, right? I'm not. Sure, I've done quite a lot completely solitary, but it's not. That's not going to be something that's very realistic. Right? That is not something that is a very realistic take. on things, right? Yeah. So I do have, yeah, and one of the reasons why I want to do some more, why I want to do real-time audio processing is largely due to the fact that, you know, like that crackling that you're hearing, I want more of that. I want to lean into that. I want to lean into the creepy spoopiness. The the spoops. I like the spoops. The whole point of this is to be the spoops, right? So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me if things aren't very spoopy. So I want the spoops. I don't know what kind of, because there's like multiple different because there can be any number of, you know, formulas and other things like that. Having that harsh black white 1-bit is very nice to have. But the main thing that I want to have is yeah, having the oh, it's 175. Yeah. Alright, see. Like you can like peek around corners. That's how you know that that is working, right? That you are that the head pivot is in front of the focal point. Is in front of the camera. Alright. The camera is literally behind the pivot point. Because that is something that's like really helpful. I could show you what I mean by that, right? So we have this here. But another thing that we can have, right, is we have draw E. So what we have is right now, right? We have the circle, and what you can do is you can either have the, you know, it looking like that, but if you do it like this, move it back some, then you can like rotate around. Instead of the focal point like that, you end up rotating around. You still end up rotating around the middle. Right. Right where it crosses there, right? And that just allows you to have it just allows you to kind of like pivot around and kind of look outside of, you know, your normal your normal view range and stuff, right? So that's something like to keep in mind and things. Right? We do have I don't know how I fixed this. It was like I literally did a linear interpolation between flat and a step, I think is what I did. Um, which is really cool. That's nice. I do believe that my display's still a little bit messed up, but so yeah, I have these set up in the way that I want it. I still do want, I mean, I will look into messing around with more ProcGen stuff. I don't want full, because the big thing is that I don't want full, um, I don't want spanning walls, right? I don't want walls to be fully spanning. Um, you know, because I think walls that are fully spanning are largely boring, right? Another thing that I could do is, like, I don't really know, right? Like, I don't know how to guarantee that, like, how do I guarantee that there's not going to be any space? Any loss of space. Because, like, that is not a trivial. Like, that's not a trivial thing. Um, and I can do things, like, I don't necessarily need to assert that there's no fully spanning walls. I mean, another thing is that I want to fully figure out what the algorithm is before I start implementing it, because I want to implement it in a single shot. Right? Whether that be in a single day or in a single week, right? Because I don't want the ProcGen to span testing sprints, right? Like, I have testing sprints now, right? I have test sprints. Because I have Otter, doing tests, right? Like, he's running tests for me. He's doing QA and stuff, which is super cool. I love it. I love it a lot. I would love to be able to find more people that would be willing to test and do things and give me feedback on it. It is available for free for download. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I need to set up some. Yeah, I think what I need to do is set up a few. Whatchamafacets. Because I could do, like, periodic bots, right? I could have a periodic bot of, like, saying, hi, hey, you wanna, I just need to set up bots and figure all that shit out. So, yeah. So we have that. So we have All those are good. All of those be Gucci. So what is the next area? What is the next area? So I could do a proper hello. Hello. Hello, Ewan. How be? Okay. Knick-knack, paddywhack. That's a pretty good one. So how are you, Ewan? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay today. I do be do. But yeah, now like I have automate game making doing doing QA for me. So that's been nice. That's been really cool. Basically once a week. You know, he does stuff and you know gets to see say do stuffs, right? So I want to give my testers tester more dials and knobs, right? More dials and knobs, and like in a nicer format. Because being able to just like release the mouse and hooking into, I feel like being able to just like straight up hook into when the window has changed is like super important. So I need to look into that. I could do it the uber dumb way and just constantly query the size of the window and just send all that information to the graphics card, to the shader. And that is a way of doing it. And then at which point I can just have tab be, I could just make tab be release, toggle mouse release, like release and capture, release / capture mouse. Right? Because like it's not bound to the walls, right? It's not bound. Right? So I want to be able to say, hey, do this, and then, do that, and this actually be proper. But it not to be. Kind of weird that it only handles 6 frames per second when it's running. 6 FPS. That's fucking great. It's like 166.7 milliseconds. 167 milliseconds. 6.7, 6.7, whatever. Right? Oh wait, no, it's 100 milliseconds. No. Yeah, it's like 180 milliseconds. It's 160 milliseconds. Right? I reckon something like that. 186, 100, something. Oh fuck no, math. So, what be the things? Oh, also, I am hint, hint, nudge, nudge, doing some things in the background, working on tungsten a little bit. Mostly just trying to figure out what kind of like the actual build protocol system pipeline is going to look like, because like I want tungsten to be able to write compilers like out of the box, right? I want it to just be able to just fucking write compilers, because that would be great, right? That would be super awesome. Because like I want to, like, not only do I want tungsten to be able to just write compilers, which would be super fucking powerful, and there are a few different ways of doing that, right? Because one of the biggest things is that I want a universal byte code, right? A universal byte code. And the byte code is going to be effectively like an arbitrary system. It will, like, the byte code is going to be an arbitrary system because one of the core components for tungsten is going to be like developer flexibility. So I want tungsten to be able to write, to be able to define new, basically being able to allow you to define new intrinsics and stuff, right? I want to be able to install libraries into your local compiler and have tungsten and have the compiler just fucking handle all that shit, right? So like if you are a game developer, you can just install SDL, windowing, OpenGL, Vulkan, update the Vulkan drivers, the Vulkan libraries, do all that shit and just do that to the compiler. And then all your code that you're compiling, all that shit just keeps up with it, right? So that you can like make a bunch of different games and shit. And then if you like build more libraries and stuff, you can just continuously install that to your compiler so that you can make more and more different, tool chains and tools and applications and projects and not have to worry about your build system and dependency system, right? Having dependencies is important in software engineering, in software development, because that is how you, that is fundamentally how you build software, right? Like, software is not produced in a vacuum. There is no such thing as fucking void-produced software. That shit doesn't fucking happen, right? Because like, CompSci has, CompSci is a solved problem, and it has been since its inception. Since Alan Turing came up with the Turing machine, like, it's been just a fucking solved problem, right? Everything is a Turing machine. Everything is fucking, and like the second time that it was solved was with lambda count. So it's all just a solved problem, right? It's all solved. It's all completely solved. So with that in mind, there is no novelty in computer science. Remember there's soccer in the vacuum. I mean, fair. While you're not wrong, you're also not correct. So, yeah, but like I want the UDC, I want the universal byte code to just be the primary distribution platform, right? I want the UBC to be the primary source because there's like a lot of things you could do with that. Love 2D does fusing, where you just concatenate the source to the end of an executable, and then the executable can just fetch its own shit and do the things that it needs to do, right? That's something that's very, very, very powerful, and you can do a lot of really cool stuff with a just-in-time compiler and things along those lines, which is super cool, right? That makes distribution super easy. And for things like video games, that's super nice. And if I have a universal byte code that is effectively just machine code for an architecture that doesn't fucking exist, right? Then I can make it so that if that architecture is very well constructed, right, then you can have said universal bytecode effectively just get piped straight through the JIT, straight through the compiler, and straight into the CPU, right? And that is something that would mean that it'd be one of the fastest, JITs available, because it's basically not even fucking doing anything. Right? It's just like it's just a translator. It's just it's just directly just running it's just straight up translation. And like depending on the bytecode and shit, like there might be, effectively what the for like a lot of like the intrinsic stuff, like the like register allocation and other things like that, where you have like the math things like increment and decrement, those are CPU instructions, right? So it could literally just be doing a byte like a bit manipulation on it and just immediately feeding it into the CPU, right? So or just feeding, from the as like a lookup table and something, like a build an instruction table and then feed that directly into the CPU. So the JIT would have a higher, would have some overhead, right? There would be a warm-up period for the JIT to spool up, right? To initialize all of its stuff, including like the call stack, like spooling up the call stack, querying and declaring like some heap allocated stuff, and then it would query like CPU capabilities, things like that, right? And then from there it would just then it would just run through the bytecode and all that stuff. The NRC, the native runtime compiler, right, the native runtime compiler would end up it'd be a little bit more complicated because it would effectively need to have a like it wouldn't necessarily have the host CPU information because it would just be like x86 ARM. It'd be like x86 architecture ARM, etc. etc. X86 x86 x64 ARM, fucking Raspberry Pi 6502. Whatever the fuck it is that you're targeting. um it would do all of that, and then it would compile directly down into that machine code, which would be super cool. And then it would just have to have like an internal table of what all those instruction sets are, right? There could be an argument for like a more flexible. Well, I mean that's like the whole point of the JIT, right? The JIT is like a guaranteed, if it runs on your machine, congratulations, you have access to X, Y, and Z. like, like that's just a fucking thing that exists. Um, so it can, you know, so like because like certain some architectures don't have access to like certain things. Like it doesn't necessarily have access to direct vectorization and a bunch of other like SIMD shit. Like SIMD is super awesome, but SIMD is largely at the primitive level, right? When you are defining primitives, like fixed point integers, like or like fixed point numbers, right? Having a 32-bit fixed point number, like a 0x32. You need to define vectorization because whenever you divide, you need to I think divide and multiply. You need to load both of them into 64-bit registers to do the integer math, and then you do the bit shift, right? Because fitting it all in is kind of a colossal pain in the ass. I think you can technically split it up and do some more complicated bit hackery bullshit in order to do it. But like it is a huge pain in the dick. Like it is such a colossal pain in the ass. Fixed point numbers are notoriously rough to deal with. Which is hilarious because floating point numbers are arguably way more complicated, right? But you can do a lot of the math in a single bit width, and you like fundamentally can't do that with fixed point. So yeah, there's like a lot that goes on in there, and then there's like a bunch of other shit. There are ways around it, obviously, because like 8-bit computers have been doing 16-bit operations since the fucking dawn of time. We have 32-bit computers doing 64-bit operations and shit. So like that's not there's not like that's not a boundary. I think Zig has 256-bit integers. Like you can have up to like at 65,500. 6553 8, like 65538, something like that. 65536, something like that. I can't remember what the actual number is. Yeah, the 65,536. I think, right? Is that it? What the fuck is 2 to the power of 16? Because I know it's like 65,000. and then a bunch of other shit. So it is q to the power of 16 is 65,536 is the but yeah, like you can have massive, huge numbers in Zig. Because it just cascades the bitwise operation. Right? There's also like some really cool. Oh, also if you like look into like Minecraft Redstone computers, the ALUs in Minecraft Redstone is fucking fascinating. Because there are certain algorithms that you can perform in Redstone that are operationally far more efficient than anything on Silicon, simply because of how Redstone works. And some of these algorithms, and a lot of people have asked, like, oh, well, like the cancel carry adder is a it's an O of 1 adder, right? And like the best that we can do is an O of N, with modern, computers, N being the bit width, right? N being the bit width. So like Minecraft computers are categorically faster than actual hardware. Which is like super cool and stuff. And then people are all like, oh, well, can't you just do the same logic with, actual, with real silicon? And it's, no, you can't. Because there's no directional flow with electricity. And like electricity runs so quickly that you end up having like micro latency, and there's like a bunch of other weird shit that goes on when you start getting down to the actual hardware level on CPUs and stuff. And also at the bottom, at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like it literally doesn't matter. Like the amount, like you would, it is a single CPU cycle in order to add, right? So to add 2 integers is, my computer can do it at 2.7 gigahertz. Yeah, like, fucking get real. It doesn't matter. Literally doesn't fucking matter. Right? So I still need to figure out what dials and knobs and how I want to present them. Okay? Because I could do tab, make tab be the release. E, releasing the mouse is nice. I want to hook into when you maximize and when the size of when the window size has changed. Snag the new window size up and send that to the graphics card. Let's try doing that now, right? And I still haven't gotten a new fucking browser. So I'd really like to, but I don't want to be building BrowseXL and because I want a graphical browser with JavaScript support. And I think I can do that with like the headless, with like one of the headless Love 2D on window size. There's in Love 2D, yeah, I've done the window resizing. Handle the resize event. Love that resize. Okay. Format. Ooh, there's a format print. Oh, hello. That's good to know. draw that canvas to the windows using scale factors calculated in love resize to maintain the aspect ratio. Uh-huh. Yeah. Interdasper. That is good to know. Okay, so it's a love that resize. Let's do it. And I think the screen send text bounds. I have window. Yeah, because I have the window X, window Y, height, and width. Alright. So I can put something in here. Do function love dot resize. Okay. Love that resize. So the main thing is that window dot width is equal to width. Window dot height is equal to height. And then it is screen send what is it? It's like screen. That's like screen. Yeah. I mean, I could do that. No. With height. Yeah, I think that should be good. I don't know, we'll find out. Let's see if I did this right. Hello. I mean, that's fine. Shit happens. Sorry, it took me like a whole last minute to realize that you were here. I am observant. Ooh. It working. Did you fix YouTube harder? Yeah. Could you get me a job? That'd be great. I live in California. I have 20 years experience with computer science. Markup language. I mean, either mark. I mean, you could also do markdown. No. Or YAML. TOML. TOML's pretty popular. XML's pretty popular. XML's pretty popular too. Spool up your own. That's always a fun one. Just fuck the rest. I mean, I don't even give a shit if it's at. I don't give a shit if it's at Google. I just need a job. I'm getting tired of this unemployment bullshit. I mean, I'm absolutely capitalizing on it while I can. Because like I am actively looking for a job. I just need to apply at more places. You know. But I'm rapidly running out of fucking options, and it's great. I mean, I guess I could try again at a few places. Just to reapply. I mean, yeah, plain text. I mean, plain text is fine. I don't understand why so many people don't just utilize plain text more. Like, it's fine. It's readable. Like, and like that's what a lot of people say is like why it's bad. It's like, oh, but it's like super readable, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the one reading it. I want it to be super fucking readable. You know? So I'm pretty happy with fairly happy with that. Like, it's a little beef. Decade behind, yeah. And doing what exactly? What have you been on for a whole decade for? I mean, I'm going to talk. I've been at this since 2021. Like, on this project since 2021. I mean, very much on and off, but... You know. So I've been working on this for 4 years at this point. I mean, granted, it's only been... a total of... The first time was 3 weeks. The second time was... I think like 1 or 2 weeks. The third time was... about a month. And this time is... I'm on week 2. So it really hasn't been all that long. Right? And a lot of it has just been... futzing around, right? So there's that. Just a lot of just garbage, garbo, futzing around, just messing around with stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel that. Because, like, this is kind of like a proof of concept of engine design and kind of stress testing capabilities, right? Like, can I manage full screen raycasting efficient? Like, is that something that's even fucking feasible? Because, like, a big part of this project as a whole, right? The greater meta project, right? The greater meta project is that, like, I want to have, like, say, yeah, maybe not so big. Right. So, like, say I have this, right? And I want to query when this ray hits something. One of the things that I could do is I could say, hey, does this entire chunk of information have any data in it? If yes, well then let's subdivide. Right? Let's subdivide this and then go from there, right? Then I say, in the first one, in the beginning, is there information here, yes or no? If no, then move on to the next cell up here. Does this have any information? Yes? Well, then let's subdivide. subdivide it. Is there any information in this cell? If no, then move on to the next one. This big mamba jumbo. Does this have anything in it? Yes, well then subdivide. Does this one have anything? No, well does this one? Yes. Subdivide. Does this one have anything in it? Yes, okay. Subdivide. Right, and then eventually I say like maybe this is the final layer, and then, you know, I say it's here, right? In the beginning, yeah, right. So then I can parse that. So this is literally only like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 checks, and this can be huge, right? This can be absolutely massive, right? And it's just this efficient traversal of data. That is the main thing that I want to do. Now, a big part of it, a huge part of it, massive, is that I might not necessarily do the full octree in Starforge, largely because I might not do the full octree in Starforge because I don't think I want to store voxel data as an octree. Like, I still need to think about how I want to do that, because like octrees tend to store very redundant information. One of the things that I could do instead is I could package the information. Like, something that I was thinking of is doing a different packing mechanism, an information packer, where so we are at 2. Oh, that's definitely not in the middle. Yeah, it's more. 2, 4. That's also not in the middle. I think close enough, I guess. What I can do is so here, what I can do is I can say, I can basically, instead of indexing this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way over to, what is that, 64? What I could do is I could say 0, 1, 2, 3, what was it, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, fair. I mean, you could always just go with Emacs and literally piss everyone off. Except for Emacs users. Emacs org mode. Yeah, I know, it's The fuck was it? Yeah, I think it was. And it's like 16, 17, 18. Yeah, there's like this certain pattern that I was able to do. That like did like in groups of 3, so 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. ASCII. I mean, I do too. Also how I'm also incredibly self-aware on how fucking lazy I am. So, yeah. Uh, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. 3, 34, 45. Uh, 49, 50, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Indecisive little bitch. Yeah. Bitch ass motherfucker. I mean, fair. uh, I mean, you said bye instead of bitch ass, but then again, I've also never met a single bi person that has ever corrected me when I called them a bitch. So, you know, there's that too. So there is that. I've yet to meet one. I'm not biased and by myself. Uh, Fair. So basically, what I could do is I can package all of this information in such a way that I can effectively overlap and interlace the information in and on itself. Right? Because if I index it in this way, then I can effectively overlap the memory in such a way that it becomes very easy to index into and search for the information necessary. And then, so I could say, like, hey, if, because, like, it just depends on whether or not, like, there are some things to keep into consideration, right? Because, like, indexing into this is not as easy as a texture. Unless I store it as, like, a 3-dimensional texture, right? And I just package the information differently. But, like, the main thing is that the information, it's different layers of, layers of detail, levels of detail And then like having the levels of detail. So depending on how close to the camera the ray is originating from, or the ray it currently is, will determine how far one step is, and that will determine like how much memory is being stored and shit like that, right? Like how much information is being stored. So like there's some considerations there. I think there's different ways that, because I want to be able to like update the chunk data and chunk information in a way that is very nice, because like I can change how things are indexed into the information. Because one of the things that you can do, with like say, some nice chunk data is that like say you have these cells, right? And you want to unload these, right? You want to unload these, right? You want to unload these, and you want to bring in some new ones here, right? Well, wouldn't it be easier if you could just, delete these, take this new chunk information, and just like move it into place, right? That would be like super fucking sick if you can do that. But it's supposed to be over here, right? Like the new chunk information is supposed to be here. You unload here, you load it here, yada yada. But what if you just, instead of this being 0, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? Instead of this information, what if you just did moved everything over, right? What if you just took all these and just cycled everything over, right? Just changed how you indexed into it. Then you can just make this, you just literally move all these over, right? Right, just move all these over, and then you just change how it's indexed. Boom, biff bam boom, Bob's your uncle. Problem solved. Done. Right? And that's like literally how, right? And then you just, update it. Why? Nande? Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. There's some hinky-jinky bullshit going on. But yeah. So, yeah, you just change how it's indexed, and then problem solved. And you can do a very similar thing here. So you can unload what needs to be... Well, I mean, and this is like the actual chunk data, right? This is the actual chunk information. So, like, you'd be loading this into memory differently and just accessing different textures and shit. Yeah, so you just end up changing how it's packaged so that later on, you can incrementally add more information and stuff. So that's something I'm thinking about and trying to work through how to manage properly and all that stuff. And then there's also doing it for smooth voxels and you know, just all the things that are involved in all that. Right? So I don't really know. So there's a lot that's going in to all of that. So that's not what I wanted. Thank you. Nande. Oh, there's a separation here. Gotta keep them separated. Come out and play. Gotta keep them separated. He's getting a tattoo. Yeah, he's getting ink done, but instead of a 13, he got a 31! Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, cinco, seis. So, anyway, enough of that bullshit. So, we have this. So we have these. There we go. I think that's it. Yeah, it's pretty easy to read. Looks like to me. Bunch of stuff in the background, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. Alright, so we have those, we have that. What is next? What is next? What other kinds of dials and buttons do I need to include? Because I don't know if I want like to have a proper because I don't know if I want to have like a proper menu, like a proper debug menu, right? That effectively like a settings menu, more or less. Because like I don't know what else that I would want to like I don't know what kind of fall off curves and stuff like that I want to do, right? Because like the linear fall off is interesting. Alright. The linear fall off is kind of interesting. But I don't know if it's something that I want to maintain. Right. So, because I have the noise 4, 5, empty. Because the noise 5 is the proper. And I know that a lot of people are probably looking at this and be like, oh, you have like so many unused you have a bunch of unused functions. Isn't that gonna like limit the compatibility and yada yada yada, all that stuff? Not really, because if code is unreachable at compile time, it's completely expunged by OpenGL.
right? You can write as many. You can have the largest shader file, that you want. But if it all evaluates to solid red, then it doesn't fucking do anything. It just returns red, right? Like the actual shader code that's sent to the GPU is basically nothing. It's all of like 3 bytes or however fuck many, right? It's like 8 bytes or whatever. Super tiny. So like it literally doesn't actually matter. The biggest thing that I'm going to be running into though, with the fact that it's full screen and all that stuff, is that my computer is really fucking slow. So it's going to be struggling regardless, right? I can bump it up and other stuff, and on like real hardware. Right. On real hardware, it's perfectly okay. So the entropy. Let's take a look at the entropy. Right. Entropy is clamp pow distance. What happens if I do 0.5? The square root of the stuff. What does that look like? Looks like shit. Is what it looks like. Right, because close to the middle. Right. Because close to the middle, it's gonna immediately jump up. Right. If I wanted something a little bit different, then I want it to be greater than yeah, I want something like that maybe, because I don't know, because I don't necessarily want to have like a very, very harsh drop off of visibility. Something that has a little bit more fizzle fazzles is nice. Right. Because I could also be a little bit more asymptotic. For instance, I could take the log. I could take the natural log of the distance. Right? I could take the natural log of the distance. Right. Take the natural log of 1 plus, right? Do that, right? Which like immediately shoots up to 1. Which is, kind of sweet, but also kind of fucking sucks dick. So one of the things that we could do here is I could say, hey, the distance, right? Distance plus 1. I could say because like I'd want the distance plus 1, the logarithm of the distance plus 1. I could shrink that down or expand it. I can divide like 8 dot, right? Really send that out. Oh, that's way out there. um, and it like hits it very quickly. Interesting. Because I would expect it to be something along. Because I would expect it to be. I wouldn't expect the stochastic nature to be that harsh. It's very interesting. Oh, right. Yeah, no. No. Yeah, because when D is 1, yeah, when D is 0, there's a 1. So why do I not see any? Oh. Right. Okay. So I don't actually want to do that. I want it to be. Well, I mean, I could multiply the whole fucking thing. I can divide the whole thing by something. Like, I can divide the output by some value. Right? I could literally do this. Right? Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do this, right? So if I do that, there we go. See, that looks a little bit more like I was expecting, right? Because then I can make this 8. And then, right? Ooh, this is moody. So this still gives me a little bit of that hazy haze. Okay. Which is nice. That is nice. So I could do that. I could also say, not do the +1. So that like the radius starts at a certain level. I don't really know why that's quite like that, but it is what it is. Just still rather interesting, right? So I could do 6. That's not what I wanted. Right, 6. That's not what I wanted. Oh, right. I could do that. Because, like, logarithm will be. It'll approach 1, regardless. And this will also mean that if I'm up against something, I'm not gonna have to worry about any, stochastic temporal dithering, aka static. Right. So like in here, it's fine. Like this feels, it feels like sometimes wrong, but it also feels like fine. Like having a slight little fuzziness that's fine, right? Like it reads as fine. Being right up against a wall and like that haze kind of fading in, like that's neat. Alright. Because this gives you a sense of unease, but a sense of wanting to approach it. Right? Because the whole point of this is to put the player in a mental state of unease, but in a very controlled manner. right, is I want it to be a controlled state of unease, right? I actually think that 1 is not only the loneliest number, um, but also I think the proper fall off radius. Because I think anything higher is going to make the black too noisy. I guess brightness would be a little bit more accurate to say, right? Because it is the inverse squared situation. So that's cool. Early rest. Nice, nice, nice. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, get some rest. Thanks for stopping by, though. I appreciate it. Oh, also, I pulled the camera back a little bit so you can kind of like peek around corners a little slightly. Not that there's any reason for it. It's just a little bit of a quality of life, a little bit of better read. Yeah. Just gives it a little bit slightly better feel. Because that was part of the feedback that I had received. Do I want coffee? Do I want coffee? Okay, so I could do... I want... So here's the thing, alright? I can do kind of two different... I can do two different effects. Right? Because if I want to... Because if I want to use... Because if I want to have, like, lighting. If I wanted dynamic light. So I could do dynamic lighting, right? So I could either have the room... Because there's two different things that I can do. I can either have the room that you are in gets worse and worse the longer you stay there, or I can have the ability to mark things. Being able to mark walls. Being able to mark walls. Being able to mark walls. Interesting. Okay. Because I can do... Because I want to have something like that, right? Being able to mark walls. I could mark the whole ass cell. Which would be super interesting. Which means that I can mark... Ooh, I'm gonna have to think about that. Because I could do... Because I kind of really like the idea that the cell Interesting. Because like I want it to be so that you have to be like fairly close, right? Um. All right. I want it to be so you have to be fairly close, right? Like within 1 or 2 units, right, of the wall, and then like you can mark that entire wall tile. Um. Now there is a little bit of a discrepancy because you could do on a per side thing, right? Which means that is a little bit more data that you have to send. Um, but largely you just have the red, the red channel, like the red and green channel, right? It could just be 1 and 2, and you can just send that information, right? That is a secondary. That is a secondary. Secondary could be a secondary texture, right? Because it is 4, right? Because it's like 4 different things. 4 different things, right? Um. Hmm. 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 Wait, hold on. What if there is um oh shit, fuck. Um I did some fucking crazy shit here. DS is equal to let's see what happens here. Ooh. Ooh, I kind of like that. Ooh, I really kind of like that. Ooh, that's really nice. Oh, that looks great. Oh, that looks fucking incredible. Oh, that is so much cooler. That's so much nicer. Look at that. Look at you. Look at you. Hercules. Hercules. Um, and then the wall does the minimum of the maximum of the get cell and yada 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 blah. Fuck my ass, dog. shit. Fuck. Ball sacks. So that shit sucks. That looks really good. It's a lot more obvious. A lot less subtle. Its single tiles look more rounded. Which I do really like. I do like that a lot. I really love that optical illusion. Because it makes it look like the walls are bowed out a little. It really gives a sense of unease. Like, it's really nice. I really fucking like it a lot. It does make it look like right now, until I can get it working for the ceiling and the floor, it makes it look really fucking uneasy. That's really cool. I love this effect. The issue is that I don't have an XY. Right. So what I think I should do is I should actually have like for each like corner do a sweet beacon. Because I need to figure out, you know, which ones are like, if it is, because I could do I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to figure it out. Fuck my back. Ah. Um. Alright. Time to stand. Okay. So let's take a look at some ideas. Ah, fuck. Okay. Oh. The fuck? Okay. Okay. Um, sorry if I feel like I'm just, you know, just kind of staring into the abyss here. I am standing because my fucking back hurts like hell. Um, let's stack a bunch of pillows, shall we? Stack a fuck ton of pillows. Um, stack a fuck ton of pillows, and then come on, there we go. So I can stand, so I can rest my back some. Standing is actually really good for me. It's not that I'm like one of those people that are like, oh, you should work while standing. No, you should be not sitting on a fucking bed while working. Um, a bed, a good office chair does not make. So, all right. The muscles are support. Fucking Crocs. I'm wearing Crocs inside because I don't want my feet to hurt. My back fucking hurts too much. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do, need to. So the edge distance is fucking easy. That is fine. So why is that something that's so fucking easy, right? Why is that something that's so easy? Get water distance. ds.z, right? The distance.z, z, 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 z. Z's dead, baby, Z's dead. And why is that like a thing? The minimum of the UVT and the height minus the UVT text. The minimum of the two. The max of the float of the is fill. And then the wall distance. How the fuck do I find the wall distance? Because I want to have... Because what I actually want to do is I actually want to have... Because I want the distance to the nearest X-ness, right? But I want from the nearest thing, right? And the problem is the outside corner. That's the issue. That is the issue. Because I would expect plant PVT. What is test? Test is Evex 3 test. This test is equal to oh right. Probably gonna get more. Oh no, I didn't. Cool. So I have this, and that's. I think I'm okay with that, right? So I have the UV cheat, right? So I could say. God. Oh. So we have that. Yeah. That is on the inside. I want it to. I would prefer. I would prefer. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Because like the inside should be. Yeah, inside. The outside needs to be. So the inside, when it's an inside corner, we get that. When it's an outside corner, we get the inverse of that. Um. Yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So that is what we expect. Okay. That is all that that does. So there is okay, so that just does that, right? Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, because I'm looking at the inside. Okay. No. None of no. Huh? What? None. No. That is yellow. Okay. So that is red. Okay. Interesting. Is register a domain, slap some screenshots on it, and then post about some creepy game you found genius marketer. Yeah. It is very it is very what is it? Fucking um ARG coded. But I also don't have any money to register a domain. I mean, I could spool up a different I could spool up a new email, start a whole new which one face it? A whole new YouTube. You know, whole ass new YouTube doobly doo. I mean, there's a lot of pitfalls. Because knowing me, like, I feel like if I wanted to make it an ARG, it would probably end up taking more effort to something or another. How are you doing, Unknown? Doing alright tonight? Because I'm trying to figure out how in the McDiddly sucksacks the shit is going. Because, like, what happens if I do this, right? Oh, this is just gonna be fucking negative. If I do both of these, then because that's just going to change. It's not going to make the overall. So the big thing is I need to have because there's effectively so if I have a particularly given I am given a particular location. I have 1, 2, 1, none is If a particular query says that there are no neighbors, or if I'm on the floor, well, I mean, there should actually be 16. If I am given a particular feeling mid, dealing with a headache, and your brain seems like it doesn't wish to work with you, also just continuing your writing stuff and switching to code occasionally. Writing what exactly? Like a game story or something, if I remember correctly? Probably not. You probably told me and I just forgot because my memory's dog shit. No offense to you, I just suck. Oh, my memory is fucking horrendous. Okay. So there should be some subset of. There should be some subset. There should be some subset, right? So if I am given a particular point, right, I need to know it'd be nice if I could query each, because it would be nice if I could just say, hey, I'm given some point P somewhere within here. It is somewhere in. It is at some random ass location within the cell. I don't know where it is. It means that it's in some random ass region within here. I don't know where it is. Maybe I don't necessarily need to, right? Because I could say that if it is here, then I mean, because I feel like I can book writing in a separate project, the other thing are split between world building, taking that fancy stuff into game design. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah, that does ring a bell. How in the fuck am I gonna do this? Because there's like how do I put it? Like there's oi 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 oi. I would love to have just like if I could have an average of 4 viewers on 4 separate occasions within a month, I would be happy. Right. That would be nice. Any ideas? Oh yeah. I mean that's fair. That's most people with ADHD and autism or autism. So I feel you there. That is a very common trope. So
So, what kind of stuff? What kind of things could I do? 'Cause it'd be nice if I could like overlay stuff, right? It would be nice if I could say, given a particular point, right? But I don't know if I can map it out properly, right? Because I should see because it might be because I want to have something that is like at distance. I want basically like a new UV kind of system. Alright, because then I can take the minimum of the two UVs. I could take a minimum of all the UVs involved. Which means that I need to have something along the line. Well, because I don't know how I can say, like, how do I break out 1 minus x times y? Right? Like, how do I break that out? Because that is the exact formula that I want. 1 minus x times y. Or when it is an outside clone. And I don't know how I could do that. Because I want something that's like the raw distance. The raw, unadulterated distance. To things. Mmm. 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 Mm-hmm. 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 So one of the things that I could do, right? One of the things I could do is I could split it up into x and y. And then I can multiply the two. Right? Because maybe not necessarily, but kind of sort of. Because like what if I say if I split it up into x and y, this is like a top down. Because the floor and the ceiling is gonna be the hard part. And I kinda just want to have the distance to the nearest edge on all 3 planes. Why'd you spool up? Huh? Why am I drinking so much fucking coffee? Also, my back is fucking killing me, dude. Oh, how am I gonna figure this out? Dude, I like the aesthetics of the other system. But I don't have a good solution for the inside. That's kind of tough. Yeah. So instead of like a minimum, I want like a multiplier. I want to have that multiply across the entire scope. And that's kind of the thing that's kind of pissing me off, that I don't understand how it's going to work.
I can't necessarily do like a multiply across the whole board, because that wouldn't work. I mean, I could do... I want to have... It would be nice if I had just like a universal. Alright, because like the Z plane is the non-Z plane. The XY plane is the hard part. Because the ZX and ZY, those are easy. Those are basically fucking free. The XY, that's hard. Right? Dealing with Z is easy. That's like the vertical face on. So those are pretty fucking easy. It's dealing with Z. Z is hard. Z is hard. Well, not Z is hard. Dealing with Z is easy. Not dealing with Z is hard. Z is the only easy. We have ZX and Z. Those are soft. We got those super easy, barely any inconvenience. And with XY, on the other hand, that is not so trivial. How in the fuck? Why? Because is there some way that I can make it look like some other kind of thing? Because it would be nice if there was like some kind of, I don't know, because like the multiply is the multiply is not a, it is not, because the distance is non-signed. That shit is unsigned. Right? It's all fucking positive. Everything about it is positive. And like the negative times a negative equals a fucking positive. That's not very helpful. Alright? Like, it's kind of a pain in the ass, right? Like, I need to orient this shit in such a way because, like, it's because I want to have that but I can do what I could do. No, that's not gonna work either. Because I need to have, I don't know how I'm gonna do all these multiplications. Because I need to have like multiplying the two together gives you very rounded distance. And it looks very circular. No one can in a way that's very private and dynamic. But the problem is the outer corner. Your inner corner should be easy. The outer corner is not so much. And I should be able to arbitrarily find out like what kind of system it is, right? Because I should be able to deal with things in a way that won't matter, right? So it'd be really nice if I could have like a multiply, but I need both the x times y and 1 minus x times y. Right, I need both of those. Right. Both of those are kind of necessary. So how do I overlap them in a way that will maintain good priorities, right? One way of doing it is that if I am on the inside versus if I am on the outside. How do I determine if I'm on the inside? Right? Because it's like left times y. The neighbors, the immediate neighbors times, you multiply the two neighbors together. If they exist. Right, the distance to the neighbors if they exist. If they don't exist, then you don't. Right, the distance to them is far away. Don't care. Right, don't care. So I don't know if I want to maintain it. And also how good is that, right? I could do any number of rotations, depending on what it is that I want to do, right? Because these are very nice. Problem is, top and bottom corners. Right? Like these tops and bottoms, the tops and bottoms corners, I don't like. I want it to be more obvious that there's some shit going on there. Ambient occlusion is like a thing that exists, and I want it. Right, but the issue is these outside corners. The inside corner should be easy. The outside corner is not so much. The reason why I don't have to worry about them on the walls is because there are no outside corners. Only inside corners. So how do I manage the inside corner? The outside corners? Because I want to say something. Because the problem is I'd say like, hey, the distance to the nearest wall is greater than or equal to 1. I can multiply that by, x. So I could say the distance to the x to the y. Okay. Distance to x, distance to y. Cool, I could do that. I can do that first, right? Distance to the xy plane. Just say if Now for that cell, I multiply, like if that cell is occupied, right, if the cell is occupied, I search the four corners. The cell is occupied. Then if the first cell, right, I gather the four corners. Because basically I get the cell that is, I have the points, and then I have the four corners, four cells. If the cell is occupied, then right. But it also depends on whether or not it's a neighbor. That's kind of the problem. That's the thing that I want to make sure that I understand. Okay. So if it's on the left side, then I can do because if it's like occupied, then I could say a, you know, the x, right, the x distance. I can split it up into the x y distance, and I feel like I should do a new split, right? So this is min cell, max cell, less than or equal to min cell, equal to min cell, dx less than or equal to max. What happens if I just do, instead of min, I do multiple? What happens? Ooh, that is interesting. Not exactly what I want, but that's cool. Right? I mean, that's cool. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. Should I have a harsh power side? And like a bunch of shit going on. Whatever. That's interesting. That's cool. Not what I want. That's something. Progress. My back is really fucking killing me. Yeah. I will be noodling around with this at a later date, but my back is really fucking killing me, so I might need to just end it here, get something to eat, go eat something, make like a burrito or something, I don't know. Eat something. Okay. Yeah, I'm in too much pain. So I'm gonna end it here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a lot of pain, so I am gonna end it here. Thanks for being here and all that stuff. I hope you guys have anyone else that's watching instead of just, unknown. I do hope that you have a wonderful rest of your night, or day, or morning, or whatever time of day it is for you. Whether it be you are watching this live and just being quiet in chat, or if you're watching this as a VOD, either on Twitch or on YouTube. I do hope that you have a wonderful rest of your time between your next sleep. Until next forever sleep. Yes, may thy night be peaceful. Indeed. Indeed, Awen, indeed. So I hope that everyone else who sees this has a wonderful rest of their time. Um, and all that stuff. I'm going to stuff food in my face and try and feel better and be in less pain. So I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for existing, even.